Hello, good morning. A great day today. We have one of our amazing private clients, Megan, on the call with us, and we're going to be running through a conversation, probably a little bit different to what I've done before regarding client results and how they've got there. So I'm excited for this one. But first of all, Megan, thank you again. I think it's video number 2 or 3 now.
Yeah,
We're building up quite the portfolio
we
of
are.
results.
Yeah, racking them up. But no, thank you so much for having me this morning.
Pleasure.
I'm thrilled to be with you again.
Yes, it's always a lot of fun.
Definitely.
So,
There's no other way.
yeah, exactly, literally.
Yeah.
Count me out. So, there's a reason why I wanted to do this call with you today, Megan. Obviously, we've quickly ran through that 5 minutes before the conversation today. But for anyone tuning in, Megan, we spoke in November for the first time, I believe. So I don't know what month we're in these days, August. So let's call it 9 months ago. And in the last 9 months, we've had some, I would say, really big changes, really big wins, a lot of shifts on your side. And I think results-wise, we've had some great things come in the last 9 months.
Most definitely.
Yeah, and I look at you as, you're a changed person from when we first met. There was all the, I suppose, the potential there and the foundations, but just needed a few tweaks to really get to where you wanted to get to, and we continue to do that.
Yes.
I think the value in today's conversation is how we've actually got to the results and how you've actually I suppose had the success you've had so far. I want to dive into those stages because it's very easy to look in from the outside. And one of the milestones I do want to cover is, when we first started working together, you were charging $1,500 for your service.
Yes, correct.
And
$1,500 Australian.
Yeah, Australian. And now, a message you sent through the other day is, one client has paid you $99,000 in the last 30 days for your services.
Correct.
So if we look at that, my maths can be good, but it can also be a little bit off sometimes. But I see that as about 46, maybe a little bit less increase in prices when you look at the two. And I want to cover the transformation that has allowed you to do that, because you haven't just done this once. We're now continuing to repeat the pattern of working with premium clients, taking them on easily, and also then maximizing their results. So not only did they pay once, but they keep coming back. So you're now creating repeat business as a high ticket provider. That's where people go wrong. I want to talk about how you've got there in 9 months, because 9 months isn't a long time to people looking in the outside. Okay.
No, most definitely not.
Cool. So let's dive in. So my first question is the $1,500 version of what you were doing there.
Yes.
And your challenges at the time, you thought was client attraction. And we've had this conversation before publicly, but that $1,500 immediately, I believe in about 48 hours, we generated an additional $46,000 of income in the first 48 hours. Yeah.
Correct.
So what's the initial transformation, if you can remember? I know it's a long time ago now.
No, the thing being is that it feels like a long time ago, but it truly isn't. Like, we're talking literally 9 months. So I guess what I have experienced over those 9 months is transformational change, like real transformational change, and both internally, externally, what you see and what you get. So where I was last November, I reached out to you and Sally because I felt that I had a client attraction concern. However, you rightly pointed out to me at the time when we first spoke, I had sold out my retreat that was occurring days following. And I realized then that client attraction really wasn't the issue. Sure, I felt as if I was hustling hard and there was a lot of effort to sell out that retreat. But now I'm fully aware client attraction certainly wasn't the issue. The issue, and this is reflected in the $1,400 offering, is that I wasn't connected with my true worth, with my true value. Yeah. And as soon as there was that realization, that's when it was like the light bulb moment. And obviously through your help during that call, and I believe there was like a 30-minute training you popped through me after viewing that. It's all it takes, 30 minutes.
Yeah.
I held that retreat 2 days later. And from the very small gathering, I think there was 6 women there, more than half chose to reinvest in me. And I generated that additional $46,000 Australian within 48 hours. And it was all about, connecting to me and my worth and my value, and recognizing that the true value to my clients and their investment in me is that continued investment. Rather than the churning and burning of clients come in, clients go.
Amazing. And I think so the training Megan is talking about was a snippet of something we've got called 6-figure retreats. Okay, so retreats are a great way to, first of all, present initial value, but they're also a great way for you to connect with people face-to-face or online. I personally prefer face-to-face, but you can absolutely do this online. Many people want to run retreats or are maybe running them, but have no idea how they can consistently hit 6 figures plus in revenue and profits from those retreats. And I think, if we look at the return on that 48 hours later, you've added $46,000 to your business, which, again, I don't know, but there was no way you'd done past 20K in a month before.
No, not before last November. So last November, to be completely frank, I was clearing maybe 10, 15K in a good month. And then November, like I passed that 40K with ease because of that retreat.
We did 60, I've got it written down here, 64K. I don't know if that was actually 100% confirmed, but within that month, it was just over the 60K mark.
So one thing I will add too, if you remember, again, this speaks to the self-worth, is that at my retreats, which I'd held 1 or 2 before, I felt that I had to lay it on thick, hostess with the mostest. And, there was the fine dining experiences and the massage and the yoga and the Pilates. And really what I was doing is, again, devaluing myself. And I'm now so much wiser that people come to me because they're attracted to me. Not necessarily all the glitter. I still, don't worry, I still offer premium.
I was going to say.
I still offer very premium, but yes, those extra specials are certainly reserved for my extra special clients.
100%. And it's a great lesson, because I think especially when I wouldn't say you were early on, Megan, like obviously there were skills there, but new to business and new to, 100% it being about you. Okay. This is where people go wrong. I think in business, your results are only ever going to be a match from how much self-worth and self-value you hold. Now, you can hack self-worth and self-value for a little while, and people do that. But I think in your case, what we've done is, gradually built that up over time to keep consistently moving that forward. But again, like you said so well, these retreats, many people are running retreats they're running them because they want to, but they don't really believe they can ever be a big part of their business. And so they add a lot of stuff in there in order to help fill that. All right. And again, that can be cool. But you also want to be making profits from that. So transitioned from, let's say, 10 to 15K a month but also, not really you were working hard. I think that was also a big thing.
I was working very hard. So working in my business, again, working with my clients was quite light and bright, but where I felt there was much efforting, and that was in the marketing. So I was working very hard in that space and constantly asking and checking in with myself, what else needs to be done? What else needs to be done in this space? What needs to be done differently? So there was a lot of questioning, a lot of, running around in circles there.
Yeah. And I think, so on a strategic level, what we were doing in the background, Sally and myself, first things first, we want to help you realize there's a different way. Okay. That money gets to be easy, money gets to be simple, and money can also 3 to 5x within days. All right. Once we've accomplished that, which we do with each and every client, and sometimes it takes 2 hours, sometimes 2 weeks, sometimes 4 weeks. Like, we don't have unfortunately, we don't have any control over that. But when it happens, it happens. And then it's a multiplication. Okay. So all of a sudden you've gone to this 46,000 and then 60,000 plus for the month.
Yeah.
Okay? You're now in a new paradigm. You now can't help but believe you have the possibility and potential to do this again.
Oh, limitless. Yes, definitely.
So we've proven the value. We've underneath it, you've gone into a space of like, wow, okay, this is different. Yep. Then we pivoted, as in,
we did.
So you make the money and then you're like, this is easy. But then we pivoted. Okay.
Yeah.
We did the difficult thing and said, well, this might have made you money, but do you want to be doing this long term? Is this what you really want to bring to the marketplace? And your answer was, no, I do not. So we've had a profitable month, and then it becomes very clear that the next step is not to continue the process that we're doing. Okay.
Correct.
What's that transition like? Because a lot of people at this point would become fearful because they're like, well, I've started making money finally in this, and I can see the potential. I can see it moving forward. But underneath it, they know it's not quite right. And they know that they can do things differently. They've maybe got their eyes open to another way. So talk to me about, if you can remember, what that transition was like. And also, if you can remember, how you kind of move through that to get to the next level of what the results were.
Yeah. So at the time, I was connected, like my identity at the time was Megan Saville, the leadership coach.
Yeah.
So I was aiding corporate professionals or leaders in community, corporate, not-for-profit, to overcome their overwhelm and break down their busyness.
Yeah.
Yeah. And once I had achieved a successful month, and also that the end of that month is when I actually met with you and Sally face to face. Yes. So I flew halfway around the world to make that happen. And my family came for the holiday as well. So that was fantastic. A couple of weeks over in Paris and London.
Yep.
And it became quite evident to me that despite that successful month, I was no longer connecting with the identity of Megan, the leadership coach. So I had to
why do you think that was?
Oh, because of my own growth. Definitely.
Right. Key.
Yeah.
People are watching this now, I guarantee it, and they're not connected, but they've always done this thing that they're doing, i.e. leadership coach, i.e. anything like relationship coach, personal trainer, like online, anything. They identify with the role, not their personal growth.
Exactly. Please. So I'm one that needs to be challenged. I'm one that is seeking continual growth. So I have that growth mindset. So always have. And that's what made me a very successful corporate leader. Yeah. I was that high achieving, goal kicking female leader. Yeah. And that still hasn't changed. And all that had occurred is that I had become successful in that identity of leadership coach. And it just wasn't sitting well with me because I'm not one to sit in comfort.
Yes.
And that had become very comfortable for me. And in comfort, and that's where a lot of people sit. And you see these coaches and mentors, they're sitting in their comfort, delivering very similar, very same, being very similar, very same. And sure, you know, they're getting those sustained results, but I'm really not interested in sustaining. I'm interested about leveling up.
Yes.
Yeah. So it became very apparent that I had to shake loose that Megan Saville leadership coach identity. And that was actually naturally occurring anyway from the clients that were stepping into my sphere. So that then, you know, the breadcrumbs were there. So I just followed my intuition with the help of my mentors. And then emerged as Megan Saville, the premium mentor.
Amazing. And very, very key, right? So a question people might be asking on the outside is like, okay, I don't feel aligned. Something's different, but how do I know what the next step is? How do I know what to do? You laid it out there really well, Megan. It's number one, there are breadcrumbs
Definitely
to your next stage. They may not be 100% ready yet. Now, does that mean you have to dive in and do that? No, it doesn't. However, you also laid on a second comment there. This is where mentorship comes in. I'm not talking about coach hopping to different mentors. I'm not talking about courses. I'm talking like strategic guidance in the background, which is what we do for you, Megan, is like when these opportunities are not quite ready, but there's a next step needed. This is exactly what we're there to do, is to guide you into the next level. Now, that then led on to the premium mentor, which we wanted to be even more successful than your role as a leadership coach. Now, if I'm not mistaken, that transition led to your first six-figure month.
Yeah. So, and what the beautiful thing is, that six-figure month, which occurred late January, February, usually like that January period is where most businesses snooze because it's the post-Christmas. You know, their credit cards are recovering. They themselves are recovering. But of course, like I had this newfound energy because of the connection with my, well, I wouldn't say a new identity because it was always there. I just had to tap into her.
Yeah.
And, you know, my connection with my message. Yeah, I had to own it. Yeah. So I had to step into that self-leadership space and own that identity, that those breadcrumbs, my intuition was leading me to. Yeah. So when you're talking about not being ready, don't wait. Like there is no such thing as when is the right time. When is the right time is when you're feeling that pull. It's like trying to plan having a child, you know, when we get the mortgage payoff, when we just, if you wait for the perfect time, will never happen. So I guess if I'm speaking to the people viewing here, if you're feeling as if something's not quite right, not that something's misaligned, you're feeling that intuitive pull, just follow those breadcrumbs and just see where it takes you. Yeah, just trust in yourself. Yeah. But going back to it, so my first six-figure month was, in that usual sleepy time in business, which is January. And to add on top of that, when that actually specifically occurred, I was actually away with my daughter. So actually not even working actively in my business. So, and I will share because this is part of my story. Sophie, our daughter, who's 11 years of age, a beautiful child, but she lives with disability. So she's autistic, ADD, ADHD, and a range of other stuff that's going on. Yeah. So a couple times a year, we take a couple of weeks out and we actually go to Autism Camp Australia. And it was actually when we were at Autism Camp Australia is that when I actually attracted that 6-figure month, and it felt freaking amazing.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's very cool. And I think this starts to become, you know, the story behind this now is really key, because when we first spoke, business was, you know, I'm not saying it was so hard that you were thinking of going a different direction. Not at all.
Oh, no.
You were pushing for things to happen. Okay.
Yeah.
When people are pushing for things to happen, it is often because they're not tapped into what they should be doing in the moment. And again, the biggest contributor to that I see in the market is actually, you know, from similar people to yourself. This is why I wanted to do this today is, you know, you might be making 10 to 15K a month, which, you know, on the face of it, depending on who you're hanging around with, is a good opportunity. It's a good salary. It's a good income. But the first conversation we had was, it's actually you're just above being broke, really. And those are conversations we've had. So that salary might feel like it's good to a corporate world. But is it great in terms of the grand scheme of things? Like, and we've talked about since, like setting your family up for, you know, wealth in this lifetime, but setting your daughter up
definitely
for the future, because that will give her so many opportunities. So these are conversations we've been having, Megan, for a good few months now. We've got plans in place, we've got strategies in place, we've got foundations in place. All this is happening in less than 9 months. And I think it comes from the point where somebody can admit to themselves and go, you know what, 100K, 150K, 250K is not where I want to be. But if they are there, corporate job or own business, if they are in that moment, in that scenario, in that paradigm, that's sometimes one of the hardest transitions to break from. Because,
most definitely,
like, it's very comfortable, but it isn't exciting.
No, completely agree. And so if you're in biz, if you're a corporate professional and you're attracting that 6-figure wage, you know, there is security in that. Well, I say security in inverted commas there, because speaking from personal experience, you're working long and hard for that 150, 250, 300K. And, you know, you're kept in that position because of this false sense of security. You know, the superannuation fund, you know, you have to contribute to that so that when you retire, you know, when you're 63 and you've only got 14 years to live, you can tap into that nest egg. But it all comes down to that grooming, you know, ever since, it's just that community, you know, the societal norm. But once you see beyond that, out of that, you just can't see it any other way.
Right. Good. So I think when people are challenged and stuck in that place, they're often doing it from a place of the societal norm. But this is where you were, you know, charging $1,500 and really in that direction. All of a sudden, see, this is where I challenged the security thing. Okay. It was very secure for us to maybe continue on that growth of the $1,500 and playing in that realm of leadership coach. Okay. We took a step out of security. Okay. There was no guarantee this was ever going to work. Okay. You had to trust in our process, and we obviously
trust in myself.
Exactly. We obviously held trust for you. And then you were able to step in and have that self-responsibility and go, you know what, that isn't the life that I want. I want this life where I'm doing 6 figures per month. I'm doing $1 million a year. And I'm also able to participate in a different type of world where I get to build some wealth. So we had that conversation. There was no security. There was no guarantee. I knew it was going to work, but
I knew too. It was only just a matter of time. Like, and again, you know, that self-confidence and self-leadership, it has always been there. But as I said, I was just disconnected with it until that last November.
Yeah.
And now that that's been tapped into, you know, really it's limitless. So I have full confidence that, you know, even the goals that we're speaking about now are going to happen. It's just a matter of, is it going to be 9 months or 19 months?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think, again, looking at transition, the security on paper is doing the same thing, but actually now we've made the transition into the premium mentor. Okay.
Yep.
6-figure month happens. That takes you into a different league. Okay.
Definitely.
A different league of value. Why? Because you're now starting to, you always had this in you. You're now starting to offer a different type of value to other people as well, because you're playing a bigger game. And people, you know, it takes, I always think the market catches on after time. Okay. Doesn't always have to, but you can't help but see somebody who's playing a bigger game. And that's the attraction point for clients. So when people talk about client attraction to me, and this is conversations we've had, you were like, I think I've got a client attraction problem. I said, no, you're just not playing a big enough game.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's our role right now. That's our dynamic, you know, myself and Sally with yourself. How do we play bigger games consistently? And how do we balance that? So hit your first 6-figure month. What was some of the mindset transitions of realizing that was now a reality? And how has that changed your life, your business, your outlook, and also how you turn up for yourself? Because again, one more thing, all you've done is said, I want to be more valuable to the world. That's all you've done in the background underneath it.
Definitely. So I'm not going to say it was all smooth sailing. It wasn't.
Never is.
Never is. But again, that's why I invest in premium mentors myself. That's why, you know, I've continued to reinvest with you and Sally, because when those 100K plus months started to play out, you know, all my old money stories just started coming to the front. So even though I wasn't a well-paid corporate job, and then I was doing pretty well as a leadership coach, you know, the whole hero to zero in the bank account, you know, that behavior hadn't changed. So it's a matter of then, and again, too, despite me doing the work, since I'd worked hard for money all my life, that transition piece was difficult to overcome. The whole hard work thing, that's yesterday's news. The hero to zero, I'm proud to have overcome. I've got a new number, and it certainly ain't zero anymore. Nice. But again, that's why I needed the support of yourself and Sally to help me through those transitions. So my mindset, I guess, from November to here, you know, it's just been this upward trajectory. Yes, there's always those lumps and bumps. The beauty of mentorship, and this is what I speak to my audience about, it's about smoothing that journey and accelerating the ride, you know, like, which you've certainly done for me. So thank you. So that's the mindset piece as to how I've been playing bigger. When clients, particularly when they choose to reinvest in you, and as I said, like, you know, clients are now investing, you know, 100K in my services. Could I say it's unleashed a beast?
Yeah.
You know, like I've been able to, it's just allowed me to dig into that power and to serve just so more deeply and meaningfully. And with each client that comes on, you know, I'm refining my skills. There's new tricks to the trade, and they're growing me as well. And that's the beautiful thing in mentorship, is that, yes, I'm aiding my clients in their own growth, but also too, I'm continuously growing myself as well. Which is a very beautiful thing. And as I grow, my business grows.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that. They are aiding me as well. That's what this is all about, really. It's like when you come to the table of offering premium services, like you went from your $1,500 to, I believe, 10 to 15K, and then, continued up from there. And I don't know, you still offer those types of services. You offer a few ranges of price points depending
on
that. So not everyone is 100K.
It's no.
Yeah. So, but again, like if they were, that's so be it. That's
so be it.
You are okay, but they're aiding you, and I think that's really important because I know I've had questions. I actually had one on LinkedIn. I wrote about it this morning. Somebody said to me, "It was like, how do you charge a 50K program?" I'm only charging £1,000 at the minute. This guy was saying, okay. I'm like, well, you can go 1,000 to 50,000, right? You can overnight if you want to. Okay, you're somewhat of a shining light on that, but the reality is like you have to offer more value first, and then somebody says, "Wow, that was almost." I don't know how you're doing this for such a cheap price. That's
too good to be true.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You want to be looking at this and going, if you want to transition your price point, I would be recommending doing such great work, like offering something of such massive value that you then offer it to the marketplace and people tell you that it's worth so much more. That's what you're doing. Okay. And that is all that's happened here, but you're setting the pace of how quickly that happens for you. Instead of going, you know what, I'm 5 or 10,000 and I'm going to sit there for 3 years. You've just gone, no, I'm 10,000 now. And I'm also going to, for the people it's right for, I want to offer something at 50,000. Because I can see how much growth I had between the $1,000 for you and the $10,000. 10x of value was 100 times more responsibility for me. And I delivered it well. So imagine if I can charge 50K, 100K, 300K, 500K. Imagine if I can do that. How much value do I bring to the world? I back myself to do that. And I put confidence in myself, and I'm going to offer that to someone. As soon as you make that commitment to yourself, to your soul, you are going to be more valuable to the market because you have to be. And this is where they're aiding you. Your clients are coming into your world, challenging you underneath it because they are saying to you, I want to go to the next level. Megan, are you willing? Are you willing to step me up?
Most definitely. Yes. So it's, again, the client aiding your own growth. There's always that gap because that's what's attracted them to you. I just want to make that clear. But again, with every client that comes on, you're learning something new about yourself and you're refining your craft. And that's where the real value lays. So, and again, they're choosing to reinvest in me. So that indicates to me that, yes, they see my worth just as I do recognize my worth myself. Yeah,
that's awesome. Now, you went from 6-figure months, you've backed that up a few times now. We're consistently getting that every month, which is great. And as I realized net value of working together over the last 9 months, and passing your bank account has been well over $1 million, probably about $1.6 million. And as a whole, as different values, like how has that changed your outset from where you were? Because remember, like, this is why I want this call so much, because 12 months can change your life. I know it has for me, and I know it has for you. It doesn't need to take 5 years. So we've had this kind of $1.6, $1.5 million, whatever the exact number is. We've had that pass your bank account. How has this started to change mindset around future possibility? What's going on there? Because this is now a wealth game, not a 9 months ago. How do I get clients? We haven't had that conversation for probably 6 months now.
Months, exactly right. Yeah. So that, I've just fallen into that flow. When I mean flow, flow with client, yes, but more importantly, flow internally. So there's the whole client attraction thing. There is just no concern or worry about as there used to be. But we're the back-to-back six-figure months. And as you say, as a whole, you know, my husband and I have welcomed, 1.5, 1.6 mil into our lives over those past, say, 9, 12 months. How has that changed our outlook? We have, and remember, this is a journey for both my husband and I just wish to speak to that. Okay, so Graham and I, we've got a very obviously close relationship. We're married, but we're very tight. And this journey has actually just brought us closer together because there's more frequent and more meaningful conversation about what our future, I was going to say may bring, but will bring. Yeah.
Talk about that, because we had our very first face-to-face. Halfway through the day, we're talking. I say, get your husband into a meeting together and start planning life in the future. What does that now look like? Again, 9 months difference.
Yeah.
You're seeing some big money, but again, I want other people to experience that tightness.
Yeah. Yeah. So great. So a little quick backstory. So for the length of our relationship, had been the money earner. You know, I was always the one with the more significant wage.
Yeah.
And then about 5 years ago, Graham started FIFO work. Yeah. And so our household income, you know, was quite handsome in comparison to the majority of Australia. Then I went through burnout a couple of years ago, and then he became the sole income earner. Yeah. So there was this interesting transition piece. I then becoming well, launching my own business, and now having this success. So our relationship, again, there's been lumps and bumps, but it's just been such a beautiful journey as we've transitioned together through that, through the different money stories, and my husband currently is still FIFO, but that's by choice. He could come home if he wanted to, if we wanted to. And we're saying that on the short to medium term, that's one of our goals, is to bring him home. But we've got a couple more goals to kick, you know? So, you know, those conversations we're having, we're revisiting every time Graham comes home, you know, once a fortnight. We touch base and say, hey, where are we at? You know, do you really want this goal before you come home, or can that be achieved after the fact? You know, so there's those, we are on the same page. There's importance to ensure that your life partner is very much part of the journey and on the same page.
Love it. Because energy is massive, right? Where your attention goes, energy flows. You know that?
Yes.
So when you're not having conversations with your partner, I want to be really open here. Like, this is something Sally and myself really bring to every client who's in a similar dynamic, whether in long-term relationships, marriages, etc. There's got to be a partnership, and there usually is.
Most definitely.
You and Graham were a partnership, like our clients usually are, but it's got to be next level. It's got to be communication. There's got to be so much trust and similar direction, energy in going to the same goals. Doesn't mean their partner has to be in business. Doesn't mean they've got to have the same goals on a soul level. It just means the team, the entity is going in a similar direction.
The same direction. Yes. Yeah. So what we've had to overcome is that we're in different speed. Yeah. So, you know, Graham is 10 years older than me. So there's a bit of a generational kind of change gap there. And I will say, he's always had complete faith and trust in me, more so than myself initially, you know. So, and I have a bit of a giggle at this, like, you know, I've invested into yourself and Sally multiple, you know, six figures. Graham had not once asked me, you know, how much are you paying these guys? You know, like
making the moolah again.
He, you know, there's that trust.
Yeah.
There's the trust and respect piece. So, as I said, the relationship growth over the last 12 months, knowing that we've been together since 2002, has probably eclipsed those first 20 years.
Yeah, I love
Yeah.
that. Love that. And this is it. It's like, you know, the work we're doing here, on the face of it, it seems very money based, and it is, but it's also like, you know, from our work together, it goes back to like the family and you first,
Yes.
and building that as a foundation, then building the bigger stuff, as in the financial stuff, as an external after. So I think, you know, again, it's nice to talk about a transition of 9 months. Like, I love talking about quick results. Hey, we worked together for 2 days, 40 grand, 30 days, 60 grand. Great. Awesome. I'm now enjoying the fact that we can talk over a 9-month period. We've done some bigger amounts of money, but I'm more interested in like where you're at. Okay. With you and Soph. And also, where do you think you're at yourself right now? Because I look at what's going on in your life, and it's a different person again to 9 months ago. Like, your life, how you live, has opened new doors. So what has that been like? I know you've got a lot of time on your hands these days, but what opportunities are opening up for you and things like that? Like, how's it changed? Because I'm enjoying seeing it, but I think other people would love to kind of hear about it.
Yeah. So the opportunities and the doors that have opened. I just want to speak a little bit, I guess, to the generational opportunity piece. So that's what's really driving Graham and I. And that really is it's the motivation that gets me out of bed each day. Sure, we've got the individual targets and goals. And some of those, I'll be completely honest, are materialistic. Like that Corvette in Amplify Orange is going to be mine. Okay, it's going to be. But really, again, they're just those breadcrumbs to that bigger goal that's far from aspirational. It's going to happen, and that's that generational opportunity. So generational opportunity, what that means to us is more than generational wealth. Okay, wealth is a cornerstone to it, most definitely, because wealth, whether people accept it or not, wealth is actually what opens the doors. Wealth is what creates the opportunity. So, generational opportunity. We're looking at opening doors for Sophie, but also should Sophie choose to have family herself, you know, for Sophie's children. So knowing that she is living with disability, you know, she's got some challenges ahead of her. And again, as parents, we're wanting to smooth that road for her. You know, we would like her to be in a position where she goes, you know what? I want to go to uni. I want to be a dentist, or whatever she chooses to be. Right. And she's able to do so without limitation. Without barrier. I
think parents setting standards through their own journey is the best way to. So maybe
definitely,
maybe entrepreneur might be
well. And that being said, again, Sophie's journey is going to be hers to own. But the fact that she is observing me, right, working light and bright, couple of hours a day, you know, filling my time with just beautiful experiences, but not only my personal time, but for the family as well.
It's me being present.
Me being present in her life. It is a complete, as you say, new paradigm, new space. It's a completely new reality. Remembering that I was always rush, work. And even when I was home, I wasn't present. How is that playing out? Like, say for Soph, again, I'll make it about Soph. She was having extreme difficulties socially at school. She had a DE average. Just of late, in the last 6 months in particular, she's now got quite a good friendship circle. They have teething problems, but all girls do. And now she's averaging B's and C's on a report card. So the difference being is, that huge paradigm shift. So the generational opportunity, it's already occurring. And I'm ready to level that up even further. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. So
Yeah.
for those tuning in at this point, Megan is flying over to Auckland to see us in 6 days' time.
Yeah.
And oh no, 5 days' time.
Oh
Geez.
no, few days. Yeah. I got that.
So
I just say, look, I've even got the passport handy. There you go.
prepared. So last time we've had a few days together now, but I think this one's going to be another massive shift. We've got some things in store. So for those tuning in, tune into what Megan's going through at the moment, because I think it can add a lot of motivation to people tuning in and wanting to change things quickly. I'm a big believer in, not having too much patience. It's like, playing the long game, playing the bird's eye view, but also grabbing things and really moving it forward, because you have complete control of that.
Take charge.
Absolutely. Yeah. So next week will be another fun day. And for those tuning in to Megan right now, I think it's going to be really cool to continue to tune into her journey over the next few years and just see what that's like. And if you want to, I suppose, join in on that journey as well, and you're vibing with Megan and what she is bringing to the marketplace, send her a message. I'm sure she can can as well.
Thanks, Martin. Yeah.
Absolute pleasure. So I think that's a good place to wrap up. But as I said, the main focus of today is really understanding the conversation of what it's like to go from $1,500. I think 10 to 15K months, but that's a good month. Inconsistency to the point where we're just backing up 100K plus months every single month. It's the 7-figure mark has been done. It's like there's just milestone after milestone. And I wanted to hear your words on what that's been like, because I can tell everyone what it's like, but it's way better to ask you the question. So thank you very much for your time. Appreciate it as always. And I can't wait to do the next one at the next milestone.
Yeah, most definitely. No, thank you so much, Martin. Much appreciation to both you and Sally. Looking forward to catching up with you and face to face in a couple of days.
Yes, absolutely. Lots of fun to be had. And as always, Sally's energy is always being felt. And even if I do these on my own, love it. All right.
Wonderful.
Thanks so much, Megan. And once again,
thank you.
Any communication, feel free to check in with Megan or myself. Thanks so much.
Wonderful.